All right, guys, so we're going to be jumping into InDesign. You guys should already have your written version of your short story done or almost done. So today I'm going to start showing you how to get this set up in InDesign. Okay, so the first thing we're going to look at is how to set this up. So if we jump into InDesign, you guys should start working on these pages. So for example, if my book is Mr. Long Teaches a Lesson, this may be my cover page. All right, and then for the first page to get us started here, our example: once upon a time, beneath the hills of the Blue Ridge, beyond the pond of Old Man Campbell, in the midst of a field of cows, a old schoolhouse stood. All right, so this would be, for example, my page 1 and page 2. Now, how did I get here? We're about to show you. Okay, so starting where you guys would be, I'm going to start as if I'm starting a new document. All right, I'm going to do 8.5 by 11. Now, if you guys want to take the time to look up and choose a different size, you can. Children's book sizes change. I will say that. So you guys have a couple of options. There are different ones. One that I found commonly used was 8.5 by 11. So I just went by that because that's our standard size. As long as you can show me that you found it and that you like the size, I'm fine with that. 8.5 by 11. And right now I want to start with 10 pages. That is my minimum. And I want to make sure they are facing pages. Remember, that means that pages will fold inside to each other. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to click create. And here we go. So now just a reminder, if you hit command and minus, you can zoom out. And so you can see I've got all my pages. This is my cover page. This is my back page. And these are the pages that would fold into each other. Okay. So now, as we continue on, the way you guys will set it up will actually kind of be a little confusing. So when you actually print a book, it's actually kind of first page, last page, second, last page. We're not going to worry about that. That gets a little more complicated. Just do it in order. So cover page 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and we'll make it work from there. Okay. We can always reorder this stuff as we get later into it. Okay, so now what we got right now, let's go ahead and get set up. So now you've got our 10 pages. Remember, just like command minus allows you to zoom out, command plus allows you to zoom in. And if you don't get to where you want, all right, um, you can always hit command 0. And that, so for example, if I hit command minus, but I want it to be focused on that, command 0 brings it to full screen, takes up that full area. So now to get started, what I want to do is I want my pictures from Illustrator that I created. So for example, what I did here is I'm going to actually go back. I'll show you guys everything that it looks like. So I started this all the way back, if it'll let me go back that much, with a guy that looked nothing like me. Now, I want to show you guys a shortcut today. I'm going to just not do that. And so let's go here and we're going to look up on Chrome. We're going to look for male teacher clip art. All right, and I want to see if I can find the one that I had. All right, so what I did, I actually took this guy here. All right, and I'm going to take this and I'm going to click on this. So it's going to pull up that picture there. I want to shrink this down. And just to make my life easier, I'm going to click and drag. You see that little green circle with a plus sign? It allows me to drop them in here. I want to show you guys a shortcut. You guys can, once your image is selected and is in Illustrator, you can click Image Trace and choose. I want to choose 6 colors. And as you can see, it chooses the most prominent 6 colors and it created that. Now, I want to expand it and ungroup it because when I do this, ungroup, sometimes it takes double clicking that. You can see it's got this white section that I do not need. So I'm going to make sure I get rid of those. And now I'm going to go ahead and I want it to resemble me. So I'm going to choose the hair and then I'm going to go over here and I'm going to change the hair color to somewhat of a dirty blonde color. And there we go. And now I want to change the suit. I don't like the that color suit. So I'm going to select both of those and then change the color to more of a blue. I'm more of a guy that likes blue. And if I wanted to change the tie color, I don't mind the pants, but I will change the color of the shoes. Now you got to make sure you get all the pieces of that. And so maybe I'm going to go with more of a darker brown, not necessarily the best color, but that's what we're going to go with. So now that I have that, I'm going to group it back so everything stays together. And there we go. We got Mr. Long vector that I'm going with as if I wore suits. All right, now you can add everything else later. The next thing I did was I went in and I did the same thing I just showed you guys with a presentation board. Um, and here we go, if I can type. And did the same exact thing to add that there to get that cover there. All right, so I took it from one of these that I liked. Uh, don't really see it right now. Let me see. Pull this up. Presentation board clip art. It's not too big of a deal. But either way, so what I'll do is I will do the same thing. I'm going to just throw this one in there and we'll make it work. All right, and I want to do once again, that is image trace. And this one, I'm only need 3 colors. It's not the best. I'll click expand. I want to ungroup it. I'm going to click ungroup one more time. And now, any of these extra pieces I do not like or do not want, I can get rid of. And if I'm happy with that, I can go in here and now I can just say, okay, I'm going to group you, and I've got my presentation board. Now, I've got the option, I can use this to add text, or I can add it. I'll show you how to do that. And once again, over here, you can change your size, you can change your font, boldness, um, and just to make sure it stays centered, I'm going to select this. I'm going to say object align. I want it to align in the center, and then I can use my arrow keys to bring it down. All right, now that I have that, I'm going to click File, Save As, and I will save it as Mr. Long, Save. Okay, now make sure you know where you save it. So I'm going to save it to my desktop. I'm going to click Save. Okay, and now when I'm in InDesign, I need to add a frame. So I'm going to click a frame, and I want it to take up this whole front page, as if I designed that whole front page. I'm going to click File, Place. When I do that, you can see my most under desktop, most recent today is that. So I'm going to click OK, and there it is. It's imported that, and now I'm done with my cover page. I don't have to do anything else. All right, had I not added my title here, I could always use my text box right here and add it here to where I put Mr. Long teaches a lesson. And now the main thing is that I want to make sure that I do here is I want to select that, and I want to make sure I align it in the center, increase my size as I like, choose my font that I'd like, and go from there. Okay, so if you wanted to do a font that features yours, we've gone over, so whatever works. All right, now that I have that, one thing I will say will be fairly beneficial as you get into, especially like these. I'm going to hit Command 0 now. Just wanted to do. All right, as we get into more of these pages, I like to add my line guides. So these are 8.5 inches wide, which means 4.25 is our middle. So that little second notch right there, there we go. And that shows me where the middle of my page is. So when I go to line stuff up. So just like I showed you guys a second ago how to do it with the guide and the presentation board, I did the same thing for what I did for this one. And I'm going to do File, Place, and I'm going to choose my schoolhouse, and I'm going to click Open. Now remember, if I want to change the size of this, I can do that, move it around freely. I need to make sure I have this free transform tool so I can transform it as I want. If I want to make sure I transform it proportionally instead of like this, all right, make sure you hold the shift key and it will not let you mess it up as you do it. Now you got to hold the shift key the whole time and then you're good to go. Now the good thing about this is as long as everything was centered ahead of time, I can just line this little notch up right there with that blue line, and now I know I'm centered. Okay, now to go ahead, I'm going to add my text now for this page, and this is where you guys will type it in. And in this case, I'm going to just copy and paste that I've already done. So I'm going to copy, all right, and paste. Now, it is up to you guys how you want to do this in there. There are some different tricks you guys can do. Um, if you want like a first letter, right, to be bigger than others, there's different things you can click on to do that. Um, and I can go over that later on if you guys would like. Okay. So if you guys have any questions, let me know. This is your very basic step. The next step, I'm going to show you guys how to publish your book once you are done.